Frank Herbert was born on October 8, 1920, and died February 11, 1986. Frank Herbert completed 6 books in the Dune saga before he died, but he had intended to end the series with one final novel. In 1999, Son of Frank Herbert, Herbert and Science Fiction writer Kevin J. Anderson released the first of many expanded Dune books, said to be based on notes left behind by Frank. The book was called Dune, House Atreides. It took place 35 years before the start of the original Dune book. House Atreides was the first of 3 books to be released in the Prelude to Dune trilogy. The following books were titled House Harkonnen and House Corrino, released in 2000 and 2001. Between 2002 and 2003, Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson released the Legends of Dune trilogy, also said to be based on notes left behind by Frank Herbert. The Legends of Dune trilogy takes place during the Butlerian Jihad, more than 10,000 years before the start of the original Dune saga. The books titled The Butlerian Jihad, The Machine Crusade, and The Battle of Corrin take a look at the genesis of the institutions and noble houses that inhabit the Dune universe. After the release of the Legends trilogy, Herbert and Anderson went on to write the ending to the original Dune saga. They finished the story in 2 novels titled Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune. The books pick up right where Frank Herbert's final book, Chapterhouse Dune, ends. The books were released between 2006 and 2007. The Heroes of Dune series, which included the books Paul of Dune, released in 2008, and Winds of Dune, released in 2009, filled in the gaps that existed between Frank Herbert's earlier books. And most recently, Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson have released books in the Great Schools of Dune trilogy. The first was Sisterhood of Dune, which involved the early stages of the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood. It was released in 2012. Next was Mentat of Dune, released in 2014. And the newest in the Dune series, Navigators of Dune, released in 2016. The Dune fandom is very split on the Brian Herbert books. There's a portion of the fan base that really loves these books, and there's also a pretty vocal portion that despises them all with a passion. I'm somewhere in the middle. I've said before that I do have some disagreements with the way certain things are portrayed in the Brian Herbert books. There are a few things that contradict established elements of Frank Herbert's original work. For instance, thinking machines are portrayed in the expanded Dune as the ultimate bad, but in Frank Herbert's original saga, it was humans in control of thinking machines that were truly the danger. Examine this passage from God, Emperor of Dune. An Ixian machine? You defy the Jihad. There is a lesson in that too. What do such machines really do? They increase the number of things we can do without thinking. Things we do without thinking. There's the real danger. Look at how long you walked across this desert without thinking about your face mask. You could have warned me and increased your dependency. Leto understood that not only did the prevalence of such machines increase human dependency upon them, but they also led to great power by virtue of technology being placed in the hands of reckless people. Leto feared that humans through technology would invent catastrophe. Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson present the AI intelligence Omnius to be the ultimate bad of the series. Omnius had escaped the destruction of the Butlerian Jihad and had a deep hatred for humanity. The Honored Matres tipped off Omnius of the continued existence of mankind by attacking a machine outpost and inviting the retribution of the machines onto them all. And then there's of course the discrepancy in who the characters Daniel and Marty actually are. In the original saga, it seems to be suggested that they are highly evolved face dancers who have been liberated from the Tleilax Zoo. But in Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson's books, they are revealed to be the thinking machines Omnius and Erasmus. But these are simple disagreements. When it comes to the quality of the books themselves, I simply don't think they're as bad as some would suggest. I, like many people, regard Frank Herbert as a genius. His writing cannot be touched. Every page is steeped in philosophy and every line is teeming with hidden meaning. You absolutely cannot go into the expanded Dune books expecting the same level of writing as Frank Herbert, who will forever be known as one of the masters of science fiction. I can't say for sure whether or not the Anderson-Herbert books are actually based off of Frank's notes, but I will say that there are certainly things that seem to fit, and others that just don't. I was not wowed by the expanded Dune books, but I generally recognized them as pretty solid, and worth the read if you are a completionist like me. There's definitely a noticeable change in the writing style, and a change of what exactly is being portrayed. There is a shift away from the underlying philosophy and a move towards a more typical narrative style. Action sequences feature more prominently as opposed to them being largely overlooked or underplayed in the original saga. I think that whether or not you will like the expanded Dune books depends heavily on the type of science fiction you enjoy. Once I release my ultimate guide to Chapter House Dune, and I will be releasing it, I'll likely dive more deeply into the expanded saga, but I'll make a point to distinguish it from the original saga for all of you purists out there. But since the expanded Dune books are a part of the Dune universe, I can't rightly be known as the Dune guy if I don't cover it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more ideas, vice, and fire. Hey guys, I'm really excited because I have an upcoming graphic novel called Tadia that I wrote coming out. Click the link in the description to get put on my email mailing list for more information.